If you are a new InfoBarrel author, you might feel a little lost as you survey the site and try to figure out exactly how to submit your articles, add images, videos, hyperlinks, media pages, and some of the other features that usually take up your valuable time when you join a new site. All the time you spend learning how everything works takes away from valuable time you could be using to write additional articles, which is what provides your income. I thought it might be helpful if I described the methods I use to research and publish articles on InfoBarrel. Keep in mind that what I am about to describe is what works for me. These may not be the absolute best methods, and as you spend more time working at the site, you may find other methods that suit you better. You will quickly discover, as you spend time on the forum, that InfoBarrel members are always available to answer questions and help in any way that they can. The attitude there seems to be that as more successful authors join the group, the site itself will become better known, and because of the high standards required to submit articles, the search engines will continue to raise its ratings and thus provide more traffic for every author. Success breeds success, and successful people enjoy spending time and sharing ideas with other successful people. In this video, I'll take you through the entire process that I use to do keyword research, gather research material and images. I'll describe how I try to keep my material organized to make submitting the articles easier and faster. I'll walk you through the process of adding images and videos and hyperlinks. Also, you will see how I add links to the media pages, which can significantly increase your chances of making additional income. Let's get started. Ideas for articles come from many places. You'll find them from reading magazines, watching television, walking down the street, almost any place you'll get struck with an idea. And when that happens, then what I like to do is start out with a keyword research to see if the primary keyword that I'm thinking about is getting traffic. To get started, I'll start with the Google AdWords tool. Now I've got most of the popular paid keyword tools, Market Samurai, Micro Niche Finder, and others, and there are times when I'm really serious that I'll use those, but on a regular basis I don't like to spend too much time on keyword research, but I do want to find some decent keywords. So I'll start with the Google AdWords tool, and I do that by logging into my free AdWords account. And the reason I do that is when I do a search with this tool now, I'm going to bring back up to 800 suggested keywords. If you use the tool without logging into an AdWords account, you're only going to get 100 back. So I've been doing some articles now about motorcycles, and motorcycle batteries seem to be getting some traffic. So I'm going to start out doing a search for motorcycle batteries. So I type in motorcycle batteries. I want to make sure that I'm using exact match over here on the left, not broad, but exact match. And then I like to set a filter by clicking on Advanced Options and Filters. And I want to set the filter to bring back at least words that are getting at least 1,000 searches a month. After you typed it in, you have to hit your enter key to set it. And now I'll do a search. Normally I don't want to fool around when I get started with any keywords that are not getting at least 1,000 searches a month. And I'll do a search. And when that comes back now, you see that motorcycle batteries are not too shabby, getting 6,600 searches a month. It has a CPC of $1.49. Normally I won't fool around with a keyword that's not getting at least 50 cents on a CPC. I'd much prefer something over $1. So this looks pretty decent. But I've got 80 keywords altogether, and this keyword tool does not do much to tell you what the competition is. It tells you it's either high, medium, or low, but I want more specific information than that. So I'm going to save this file, and then I'm going to open it up in another keyword tool that I use. So I'll click on Download, click on All, and the tool I use, the file that I save has to be in CSV, so I'll click on Download, and now I'm going to save this into a file where I can easily find it. And I like to set up the file name. I've already got it in here, motorcycle battery, and then I'll save that, and then it's just a matter of opening up the other tool and inserting this file. My favorite keyword tool is a stealth keyword tool. And what I do now is to load up the file that I just got from the Google tool. I'll click on Browse, and then I'll find that file where I saved it, highlight it, click on Open, and then I'll come back and click on this Open. Now you have to be careful. If for some reason you have that file open on your computer, it will not load into this tool. So if you're ever using a tool like this and you try to, when you click on Open, if you don't get this box, make sure you don't have that file open. Then it's simply a matter of clicking on, I want to check, I like to work with local. Click on OK. That loads up the tools, the keywords rather, with the monthly searches and the CPC, and then I just click on Start and let the tool do its job. Now while this is running, I will go to Amazon and check to see what the products look like, because even if I've got a keyword tool that's getting a lot of traffic, if there's not any product for it, then I may not want to fool with it. So while this is running, I'll let it complete its job, and then I will go off and start getting my information and research from Amazon. The Stealth tool has finished its work now, and as you can see, it starts out by listing the keyword, the monthly searches, the CPC. Then it gives you a lot of other information: how many competing pages, how many actual competing pages there are, CP strength, average page rank. This is very important because you can take a quick look here and find out, for instance, here the average page rank on this one is, for car battery, is 4.7. That's extremely high, and it's obviously it's listed this is bad. And then it tells you the page rank strength, and then it gives you competition, moderate, low, high, very high. Does it have commercial value? In other words, does it have ads, AdSense ads, and enough AdSense ads to give it commercial value? And you can see that it gives you the number of ads it has, and then it lists them. And when this is finished, if you'll click right up here at the top, you can list these from top to bottom. So it starts out at amazing, goes down to great, and it'll get all the way down to bad and terrible. Okay. So the next thing to do now is to download this and then open it up and take a look at it and see what we have. So simply click on Export to CSV, get back to the same folder, and what I like to do is I'll simply click on the original file name, but then I'll add the word Stealth after it. That gives me the original keyword tool I ran, and this will give me the one finished to the Stealth tool, and I'll save it. Now that I've opened this up in a Open Office or a Excel file, I can scroll down, and what I want to do is get rid of everything that's not listed as good. Anything that's bad or below that, there's no sense in me fooling around with those, so I'm going to simply go across here, see if it's going to let me do it while I'm in this video. Yeah, it looks like it will. I'll scroll down and simply right click on that and click on Delete. Shift cells up, yes. And now I can scroll back up, and now I've only got the ones that I'm interested in, and you can see they've got brackets on them. I want to get rid of brackets by clicking on Edit and then choosing Find and Replace, and then putting one of the brackets in there and click on Replace All, and then go back, highlight that, put the other bracket in, replace all. That takes the brackets out of there, and now I can take a look and scroll down through here and see what I've come up with. Now as I scroll down through here, remember I was thinking about writing an article for motorcycle batteries, so I go down till I find it, and here it is. Motorcycle batteries gets 6,600 searches, $1.54 CPC, and it's rated as good. It only has about a 2.8 average of the page rank, so that's a good keyword. And in fact, I did write an article about that, but before I did that, I also noticed up here that, see, this is the plural of that. Motorcycle batteries get 6,600, but if you were to use the primary keyword of motorcycle battery, the singular, it gets 8,100 searches. So you always want to be aware of the fact that sometimes either the singular or the plural will get better searches. But as I was looking at this, I happened to get up here and I noticed battery tender gets 18,000 searches. Now it has a CPC that's lower. It's only 94 cents as opposed to $1.54 here, but it has more than twice the traffic. So this is very interesting to me, and I've decided for this article I'm going to choose battery tender. Now, as I mentioned, eventually I did write an article for motorcycle batteries, but this one, because it's getting so many searches, it has low competition, a lot of ads, this one is well worth my attention. So the next thing to do from here then is to pick 5 keywords that I can use for tags in the articles and InfoBarrel, but I'm also going to use those as keywords that I can include in the article itself, because remember, each keyword that I include in the article itself has the possibility of bringing somebody to that article if they happen to do a search for that keyword, and I happen to be in a high enough position. So I'll pick 5 words here for that purpose. I start out by highlighting. I'm just interested really now in these 3 features: the keyword, the monthly searches, and the CPC. Right click and click on copy, and then I'll go back to my notepad and paste that up at the top of the notepad where I'm collecting my reference material. I'll paste that in, and now I'm going to go back and find 4 more. Now I have the 5 keywords, and remember this is my primary keyword, so I'm going to make sure that I include that in the title of the article, in the first paragraph of the article, in the last paragraph of the article, once or twice throughout the article, and then I'm going to make sure that I underline it once, I'm going to italicize it once, and I'm going to make it broad once in that article. That helps the keyword or the search engine spider, when it gets my article, determine what my article is about. And then these others, I'm going to sprinkle these throughout the article as many times as I can, and then I'm also going to use these as the 5 tags that you're allowed to put into your InfoBarrel articles. Alright, now that I've got the keywords, I've gone back and collected information on 3 images. We're ready to go to work here. Now that I've settled on the primary keyword of battery tender, it's time to go to Amazon and find out if there's really a demand for the products. What I'm looking for when I'm searching Amazon is to find products that are getting at least between 10 to 20 customer comments in the 4.5 to 5-star rating, and preferably I normally like to work with products that are in the price range of 100 to 500, but occasionally I'll work with lower priced products, because on Amazon your commission increases from 4% as you get more and more sales. Once you get up to 6 sales a month, your commission can almost double. So looking at battery tender, first glance, the first item here's got over 684 customer comments. Obviously this is a hot selling item, and if I check, it looks like there's about 16 complaints. That doesn't bother me when there's that many, because on Amazon you're going to find out that almost anything that sells, you're going to find somebody that has a problem with customer service or damage in delivery, things like that. And I like to the other thing I like to do is use the negatives as part of my article, so that when you write an article, it's not all, if this is the best thing in the world, you need to buy it, but more down the line of here's what some customers had a problem with. So that's one item. Next item has 641 5-star reviews, 14 negatives at the bottom. But as you go down, you can see this is obviously a very popular hot selling product. 55 reviews, 141 reviews, and so on down the line. The price is way below what I normally like to work with, but in my opinion this is a keyword that deserves some attention. So the next thing I'll do now is start picking the items that I want to include in the article. As I choose the products that have images that I'm going to use, the first thing I'll do is actually copy this information that includes the name of the product, the number of comments it had, and the price. I don't always include the price in the article, but to get my information started, I'll grab that. And then I'll simply take a notepad and start adding this information. And while I'm there, I'm As I copy this, I'm also going to copy the image. Simply just right click on Save Image As, and then I will find the same folder where I'm putting this all together, and I will name that image. So the first image I just call Battery Tender 1, and I'll save that, and I actually go back to my notepad and I'll add that image name here, and I'll show you later on why I try to keep all this together. And then I go back to Amazon and I want to get the link to this page. Back on Amazon, you'll find at the top of the page in the gray bar up here, as long as you're logged in with your affiliate ID, a link that says link to this page. Copy that, or I'll click on that, and when this opens, I only want text. I don't want this image widget. So I click on text only, click on highlight, I'll copy that, and then I will paste that in my notepad. Now I'm going to go back and get a little information, manufacturer description, Amazon description, and take a look at some of the customer comments, so I've got some information to start writing my article. Now there's lots of information here, product description, whatnot. I'm going to copy this. Now I never use this word for word in the article itself. I want to rewrite anything I put in an article. I want it to be unique content, but I do use this kind of word for word in the media pages, and I'll show you that later on. So now I simply go back to my notepad, and I'm going to add this piece of information, and then I'm going to go back and find two more images and do the same thing with the other two images. I'm going to capture the title, this information, and I'm going to get the link to the page, and then I'm going to copy some information that I can use to read and rewrite as my content. Once you log into your InfoBarrel account, click on My Content. When that opens up, click on Create. Now, of course, by this point I will have written the article, and I'm going to copy the title. Go back to InfoBarrel. Now this article has already been written, so to make this video I have to make some changes here. I can't put the same title in because it won't let me do the same title again. So I just changed the title just for the purpose of this video only, okay? But one thing I want to point out is, if you recall, on the keywords, a motorcycle or battery tender is the primary keyword, but motorcycle battery got a lot of searches too, 6,600. So I'm including both of those keywords in the title. And then we have to do the test. And I never have figured out what the star means, so I'm going to reload the thing. Alright, now I think I can figure that one out. Should be 15. Check title. Alright, it's telling me the title is available, so now we scroll down here and click on check title and start writing. Now we scroll up, and the first thing we're going to do is pick a category. I'm going to try sports, and then you can pick a subcategory: motocross, cycling. Well, that's not exactly what I want. Let me take a little closer look here. Alright, let's try auto, and then for a subcategory, motorcycles. And then a signature, and you can have any number of signatures. You click on add new and build them, and then as you get them, you've got them stored. You can scroll down and choose any one that you want. Choose this one, and then it asks for a summary. You can write a different summary, or you can simply use a paragraph. What I try to do on this is I usually use the first paragraph. I want to make sure that my primary keyword is in this summary and in the first line of the summary, because this is what's going to show up if you happen to show up on Google's page when somebody's doing a keyword search. So let's go back to the article and copy something. For the purpose of the video here, I'm just going to use this because I've got battery tender right up there in the first sentence. And then tags, so we're just going to go back and copy those Now you can begin to see why I made up this notepad with all my information, because I've got everything here that I need. So I copy the keywords for the tags back to InfoBarrel, and we'll simply paste those in. Okay, and then we scroll down and click on Edit. And now the first thing I want to do is upload the images. So if I click on Media and then click on Upload, I'm ready to start uploading images. Save the images now, click on Browse, and then I need to go to the folder where I've been saving these images and all the information for this particular article. And my images are down here. Here's Battery Tender 1. Open that up. It puts that image title in there, or name in there, and then give it credit. I got this image from Amazon, so I'll put Amazon in here. And then for a title, I'm going to go back to the notepad, and here's the title in the notepad that I got right from Amazon. So I've got that handy. Simply copy that, paste that in, and then you always want to put a description in here. Now, originally I was writing original content for this, okay? And if you're not familiar with the media page, you'll see what that is as we go further along. I always write original content for the article itself. Right now I'm not writing original content for the media pages. I'm simply copying some content from Amazon and putting it here. And the reason for that, my reason for that, it may be flawed, I'm just testing here, is because I don't think Amazon is ever going to rank these media pages because of it doesn't have much content in it. You know, you're only putting 100 or 200 words in here, and so I don't think they're ever going to, you know, rank these media pages on the first page. People are going to find these either by searching through our images and clicking on an image and maybe end up on your page, slight chance. But the main reason, the way they're going to get here is in your article, this image is on here, and you're going to link to these media pages. So when they click on your image in your article, it's going to take them to a media page. That gives you another chance to get content. So you simply go ahead and paste. What I'm doing now is simply going back to the article or the my reference sheet, copying some information from Amazon and pasting it in here. Now what I do here, for instance, is probably just copy this information. Okay, and then I'll go back, and I'm not going to be real fussy with this because, as I said, this article is already finished, so I'm not going to actually be uploading this article, but I wanted to show you how I go about it. Now I'm using Firefox. You can't copy and paste in here with Firefox. You copy and then you hit Control, click in here and then hit Control V. That'll put the information in, and then just look at it and make sure it's separated the way you want it set up. Okay, and then click on Upload. Once that's uploaded, click here to add another one. Go get your second image and your third, and do this for each of the images that you're going to upload. I'm going to go ahead and do that, but I'll do it off video because this video is getting pretty long. Now once your images are all uploaded, if you click on this article, it'll bring up your images and list them here. The next thing to do now is paste the article in. So I'll go back to my information sheet and copy the article. I click the cursor in here and then click on Control and V for victory. Paste the article in. Okay, now what I like to do is take my subheadings and bold all of those, but also remember I told you I do some things with the primary keyword. Here's the battery tender in the first sentence. I will bold that, and I'm going to go down to the last paragraph where I've got battery tender, and I'm going to italicize that, and then I'm going to find another use of it in here, and I'm going to underline it. Now why am I doing that? Remember, a human being is normally not going to read your article from the search engine. They're going to send a piece of software out here called a spider or a search bot, and that piece of information has to mechanically read your article and figure out what it's about so they know how to grade it. And that's why you want to do these three things. I'm not going to fool with, I've got it in here someplace. The other one I would underline. Okay, so that takes care of getting the article ready. And now I've got to put images in. I just have to decide where I want the images to be. Now, because of Google's latest algorithm, they're talking about when someone gets to your article or your web page, they want to see information. If the top of your web page, what they call above the fold, what they see before they scroll down, is cluttered up with a lot of information that is, affiliate links and images and stuff like that, that's not useful information, that's going to hurt your ranking. So I try not to put any images in the first 3 or 4 paragraphs. I used to put a big one up here in the corner, but remember that a big section of this is going to be taken up on InfoBarrel by a Google ad. So now I don't put any images up near the top. Alright, I want the first image to go right in this area here. So I'm simply going to grab it and drag it over. When it opens it up, if I right click on it, it says insert and edit image. I'll click on that, and then it's going to ask for an image description and the title. For the title, I'll go back to my information page, and because I've got everything organized, I know this is battery tender 1, that image, so all I have to do now is copy the title and then go back, put that in for the title. And then it's a good idea to try to get your keyword into the image description. You could put more information in there if you like, but at least try to get your keyword into that image description. Then click on Appearance and add Appearance. It's going to ask you where do you want it set. I want this to be on the right, and then I have to put in the size. Now I've already when I copied my images and I got them the size I wanted, I wrote that information down, so I've got it handy. Let me back up a little bit and show you what I do with the images. When I copy these images from Amazon, I know that they're always 300 by 300. In this case, I'm going to simply get rid of some of this white space down here. Click on Image, flip and rotate, rotate by angle 180, get rid of this, and then I'll bring it back around, Image, flip and rotate 180. Now I know it's 300 wide, but if I click on Image Attributes, it tells me it's, gotta get this over here, it tells me it's 300 wide by 198. So I make a note of that. Now that's bigger than I want it to be in the image or in the article, but I'm not worried about that because I can very easily change the size of it. But I want to keep it this large because on the media page itself, in other words, where people end up when they click on the image in my article and go to this media page, I want a full-size image in there. So that's why I'm keeping the width the same. So I'll save that now. File, save as, the same number. Okay. And so now I know that when I go back now to the article and put, I've got the sizes to put in. Alright, I'm going to put the image right here, so I simply grab it and drag it over. And then right click on it, click on Insert and Edit, and then for the image description, I'd like to make sure I get the keyword in here at least. And then I can go back to my information page where I've got everything listed and find that that's the first image, battery tester 1, and I've got the title right here. Everything's handy. See, that's why I try to keep it all on that one page, because you're going to have to come back to it a three times. Put the title in and then click on Appearance, and where it says Not Set, I want this to be on the right side, and then I have to put in the sizes, and the size is 300 by 198. Now that's too big, as I mentioned, for the article, but I don't worry about it. I want them to be this full size. I made all 3 images the same size, so when they show up at the bottom of my article, they're all going to be the same size, but I can change the image size in the article. So I click on Update, okay, and now all I have to do is click on it and then just get my cursor down here, and I can push it down to whatever size I'd like it to be. Okay. and that takes care of that one. And now we put in the next one. Now this one I'll put over on the left hand side, and that is this one. Okay, now you see what happened? It dropped down below this line of text. I may want it above it, and I'll show you how I change that in a minute. But first of all, we'll right click on this again, insert and edit, and this is a battery tender trickle charger. And all I have to do now is go back to my information sheet to get the title to put in here. Paste that in. Go to appearance. This one's going to be on the left side now. Now you'll learn this as you go along. Depending on, this is a pretty short article. I may or may not get enough room in here to get a long AdSense ad on the left hand side. So sometimes you may want to be careful where you put your images that might affect it, but I don't think it'll be a problem with this one. And this is the same size, 300, 198, and I click on update, and now I'll do the same thing. I'm going to downsize this and get it down about the same size as that other one. And now we've got one more to put in here. And I'll drop this last one right down here near the end. Okay, right click again, certain edit, and this is, I'm just going to put battery tender on here. I'll go back and get the name of it and paste that in, and then appearance, this will be right, and the size, update, and now if I click on it, and then I can get up here and close it up. Now remember I said that this one here dropped down lower than I wanted it, but it worked out okay, but I really want this one to be higher. Sometimes it just takes on a life of its own and goes where it wants to. I would really prefer this be up here. Now there may be additional ways of doing this. Remember what I said at the beginning of all this. This is the way I do things. It may not be the best way, but I want to move this up. So I can do that by going up here and click on the HTML, and I want to try to get this up near the top of this area here. Click on HTML and scroll down and locate that image. Now here's the image right here. Here's where it ends right here, and it's easy to find because these images are always a width and a height. Okay, I want to copy from here to where it says IMG to there, and if I copy that and delete it, and then I'll go up and find out where I want to put it at the beginning of that paragraph. Sorry for that nag that comes up, it's because of my Camtasia Studio. And I'm going to find the beginning of this paragraph and simply put the cursor in there and paste this in, then click on update, and you can see it moved it up. So rather than having the text wrapped around, it's up on it. Okay, so now basically we're finished with this. The last thing you might want to do is if you want to put in an additional H2 or H3 tags, that's not a bad idea. I normally don't fool with those. But the next thing I want to do now is save this, and then I need to go back and I need to link each one of these images to the media page. So I'm going to save this. Okay, and now I'm going to go out, click on publish. I'm not going to actually publish this one because it's already published, but I'll go out to the publish page now, and I'll go to the media pages for each of these three images and get the links to those pages, and now I'm going to come back and link these images to those media pages. Now that the article is published, you'll see that down at the bottom of the article, these are actually the media pages down here. So I've got to get the URL for each one of these pages, and I like to keep them in order. This is the first image on the page, so I'm going to click on this. And when that page opens up, see, this is what a media page is, and why this is a bonus to you is because there's additional AdSense ads showing on here. Okay, so now I'm going to go up to the top and copy this link, and I'm going to go back and paste that in my page where I've got all my information. Paste that right near the top, and then I go back and click on the back button. It'll automatically take me down to the bottom. Then I'm going to copy the second image, click on it, and go up and click the URL for it, and go back and put that on my information page. That's the second one. And then I'll go back and pick up the third one, get the URL for it, and go back and put that on the information page. Now I have to make these up as hyperlinks, so I have to put a little bit of code at the front of each one, which is angle bracket small a HR EF equals quotation mark, and I simply copy that, paste it in front of the other two, and then at the end of each one of these I have to have a quotation mark and then a space, and then I'll write TARGET target equals quotation mark underscore BLANK quotation mark and then a angle bracket. Okay, and the reason I'm doing that is I want this to open a new window. In other words, when they get to my when they click on that and go to the media page, when they close that media page, I want them back on my article. Okay, and then I just copy that little piece of code and put it at the end of the other two links, which aren't showing in this. I've got to change the video here. Okay, I reset that video screen so we can see the other end of these links. Paste that on there, and this one on here. Now it's simply a matter of copying each one of these. I'm going to separate them here, and go back and actually put this by the image. So I'll take the first one. This is the first image in my article, so I'll copy that, and now I'll go back to the article. Now because that article is already published, I have to go back to my content again, and then I would actually find that article and click on it, right here, and I would click on edit. But because I'm going to click on edit, but I'm going to click on draft now. Okay, edit your draft. I don't want to fool with the original article because it's done. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to click on edit the draft. Alright, now you don't have to fool with that. If you've already, if you've completed your article, you've got it done and you're just coming back. So now I want to come down and I'm going to click on edit, and I'll go down and find these images, and what I want to do now is link this image to that image page. And the way I do that is I click on HTML, and now I'm going to find that first image, and it's easy to do again because remember this always ends in or starts with this image, and then it's going to end with a size right here. So right at the end of this image link, in between those angle brackets there, I'm going to put in an angle bracket / small a and angle bracket. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the beginning of that where it says image, wrong angle bracket, right here where it says image, and then I'll paste in that link, and here's the link right here. It's already in this one. Okay, I just paste in the link to that page. So what I've done is I've located the image, I've gone to the end of the image, I've put in a closing HTML tag, which is angle bracket / small a angle bracket, and then I went to just in front of the image and I pasted in that link. This is the URL for the actual page, and I'll go down and do the same thing on the other two. And once that's done, I simply click on update, and then I would save that, and then go back, and after I save it, I can click on these to check and make sure it goes to the proper page. Okay, and because I set that up with a open up in a new browser window, when I click this it closes. So the only thing I'd have left to do now is to go in and put a link. Okay, you're allowed to put 2 self-serving links in your article, and you don't want to put them in anywhere in the first 2 paragraphs. So I usually try to put one near the end and one in the middle someplace. And what I've got down here is I've just taken this whole line that says spend a little time reviewing the available battery tender models. So what I would do is go back to Amazon now and get a link to that particular page. Okay, now this is the page at Amazon that shows all of the battery tender models, not an individual model. I want them to go back to the page that shows all of them. And again, I'll click on up in the gray bar, link to this page, and I only have one choice, text, and that's what I want. So I'll click on that. I'll copy that piece of code, and I'll go back and put that in my reference page. Paste that in near the top. Now all I want from this is the code that's in between the quotation marks, because the rest of it is for the image from Amazon. I don't want that, so I go right over here, which is right in front of that quotation mark, and copy everything all the way back to HTTP in front of there. Copy that, and then all I have to do is go back to my article, and I would go back and click on edit. I don't have to go into HTML for this. I just go in here and I highlight this, and once I highlight it, I go up and click on this link right here that looks like a chain link, and when I click on that, I can paste in that piece of code that I just got, that hyperlink I just got, and then click on open a new window and click on update. Okay, and once I do that, I'm pretty much finished. Now if I want to put another one in the middle of the article someplace, I can do that also. Okay, so now I've got one job left to do, and that is after I publish this, I want to take all of the URLs, the URL to the page of the article itself, once it's published, and those other 3 media page links, and I want to put those in my Google Analytics. And let's take a look. Okay, I go back to the article itself where it's published, and I'm going to copy that URL. Actually, I just want to get started at InfoBarrel. I don't need a www. Copy that. Then I go back to my information page. I'll paste that one in above the other 3 media page links. Now remember, on these other 3 media page links, we added this href or href, and also we don't want the www or the http. So I'm going to take that off of all 3 of these. I just want to start at InfoBarrel. Okay, and then I'm also going to take everything off of the back of this all the way up to the quotation mark, because all I want actually is the actual link. And then if I close these up, so there's no space in between, now I've got 4 links. I've got the link to the actual article and the link to each of those media pages, and if I copy these now and go log into my AdSense account, I can add these URLs to as URL links, and that way it will track those articles. Once you log into your AdSense account and you click on My Ads and then click on URL channels and then click on New URL, click here, this box opens up, and all you have to do is paste those in there and then click on Add, and that will add them, and that way this will track all of your ads. And you'll be surprised, when I first got started at InfoBarrel, I didn't believe media pages had made that much difference, but they make an immense amount of difference, and you're going to find out that a lot of your traffic is going to come from those media pages. So that pretty much wraps up this video. I hope it will help you. Again, I know I keep repeating this, but keep in mind this is just the way I do things. It may not even be the way that InfoBarrel likes it done. So this will get you started, and then hopefully other folks will either comment and suggest the way they do it, or if I'm completely wrong someplace, they'll straighten me out. But hopefully this will save you some time and get you started so you can start writing articles and not spend so much time worrying about how to put slot A into tab B and that type of thing.